Hello, it is Friday 11th of April. In this video I'm going to give you an update about what's been happening, and also I asked for questions on Facebook and 7 of you have asked questions, so I'm going to go through those as well. Very grateful for the questions. It helps so much. So first of all, what's been happening? My previous cancer treatment, which was Lonsurf with Avastin, that stopped working. The cancer's growing in the lymph nodes in and around my liver and lower abdomen, and the cancer's growing in both lungs and also the lymph nodes near my neck, under the left collarbone, and also at the kind of the bronchus, or kind of esophagus, beginning of the bronchus, so sort of center of the chest. So there's quite a lot of cancer growing, and it's been growing quite quickly. So the treatment stopped working, so I changed to another treatment, and I started that on the 25th of March, so it's 11th of April today, started on the 25th. And that treatment is called regorafenib. It's not technically a chemo, it's a targeted therapy. It's what's called a multi-kinase inhibitor. Unfortunately, the target is not one that's just on cancer cells, but it's on lots of other cells, and that means the side effects are quite severe. And that treatment consists of 21 days of daily tablets, and then 7 days rest, and then you repeat it until either your body is too damaged, like particularly your liver or kidneys are too damaged, or you can't tolerate the side effects, or it's no longer working, or you've passed away. I couldn't do 21 days. I stopped at 12 days. So I'm on a rest at the moment. Side effects are very tough. Causes a lot of fatigue. One thing that really took me by surprise, I was warned that it makes your voice hoarse, kind of a rough voice, but for some patients, including me, you lose your voice completely. So that's why I haven't done any videos. My voice has just been kind of a whisper. And so as I say, I stopped it after 12 days. So I think that was like 6 days ago or something, 6 or 7 days ago. And only yesterday did my voice come back. And the plan is to do the blood tests on Monday, and if my liver and kidneys are okay, then restart the treatment on Tuesday, and I'll lose my voice again. And I mean, I lost my voice completely. I could only whisper, and that made daily life very distressing and very difficult. Can't talk to my kids properly, can't do the videos and that kind of thing. So I'm trying to still trying to get into clinical trial. I am also trying to get palliative radiotherapy. So this is not radiotherapy that would help me live longer or anything like that, but just that would reduce the pain and reduce the danger. So basically a few weeks ago, when the chemo stopped working, I asked my oncologist very directly what the prognosis was, so kind of how long I'm going to live. And he said, if I get a major infection or another blockage, like a blocked bile duct or kind of blocked blood vessels in my liver where the cancer is directly invading, I'd have a few weeks, 2-3 weeks or whatever. And of course that would be in hospital. If I don't get any infection or no major infection, and I don't get any blockage, and I respond well to the treatment, and I can do the treatment, then I'm looking at potentially a few more months. The problem is the treatment I'm on, I start on a half dose, and it was still too much. So I don't think it's realistic that I'll be able to continue this treatment much more. I know on a full dose, most people don't manage 2 months on it. So the side effects are pretty brutal. The side effects are massive fatigue, loss of appetite. So I've been losing kind of 1 kilogram in weight every month. Not every month, every week. Just not being able to eat at all. Being very drowsy and fatigued. Not being able to speak. Very dry mouth, sore mouth, so difficult eating because the mouth is sore, not just because of the loss of appetite. Skin rash, very painful skin rash. So I took a shower today for the first time in a week, and it was quite painful, and it's going to be painful over the next few days. So, if I have a shower, if I can manage one once a week, it's going to have a shower followed by 4 or 5 days of pain. Get a bit better, do another shower. I can't have a bath because that would trigger the rash too much. So I'm going to go through... So back to the palliative radiotherapy. So trying to get some radiotherapy around where the cancer is directly invading it's wrapping around the bile duct and also the big blood vessels in the liver and esophagus as well, which obviously at some point that's going to interfere with my breathing and also the eating as well. So there's a lot of reasons why I might not be able to have radiotherapy. I've had it. I've had something like 70 radiotherapy treatments before. So 70 kind of individual radiotherapy treatments. And there's only a certain amount of radiation your body can take, and there's also only a certain amount that each bit of your body can take. So you've got like a whole body dose, but also the local dose. So I talked to the radiotherapist yesterday. He said he would look at my historical radiotherapy data and see if there's any way he can help me a bit. So on to your questions. Thank you so much for the questions. It helps me more than I can possibly explain. So question number 1, Roger asks, are you going to do the NK and dendritic cell transfer immunotherapy? So this is a type of immunotherapy made by my own white blood cells, and it has basically no side effects in my case, no serious side effects in anyone's case. Yes, I'm hoping to do that soon. Partly I need to raise the funds for that, but also I need the scheduling around the radiotherapy, if I can have that, or around the targeted therapy, the regorafenib, yeah, or Strivago is the commercial name. So yeah, it's kind of a timing thing, but I do hope to do that soon. When I say do the immunotherapy, I mean not an intensive course, but a single treatment of dendritic cells, T cells, and NK cells, because that's all I can get the money for. Kevin asks about if I've had a chance to look at the fenbendazolase cancer support group and ivermectin. So just very briefly, fenben is one of these kind of it's often talked about on the web and on podcasts and stuff as a cancer treatment. I have looked into it. It's not a cancer treatment as far as I can tell. It doesn't. Yeah. The same with ivermectin. There's no real evidence. People online are mixing up kind of animal studies and petri dish studies and anecdotal evidence and that kind of thing. But yeah, as for the communities, no, I really stay away from those communities, because there's a lot of like scammers in there. There's a lot of very toxic people. And one thing you can do, like, so I am in some cancer Facebook communities, and these people from those bad communities sometimes come into like the colon cancer groups or whatever, and are posting stuff or replying to people's comments, trying to get you into their group or whatever. And you can look on their Facebook profiles, and often they're very new, so it's a kind of a new fake profile. Sometimes if you look at the occupation, it will have words like distributor or maybe sales advisor and stuff. And what it is these people are in like pyramid schemes. So they're in like network marketing schemes or whatever. And what they'll do is they'll try and get you interested in Ben or something else. And then they'll try and sell you stuff to go with it to allegedly make it work better. So kind of supplements, nutritional drinks, all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's worth, if you do see those people popping up in the communities, report the comments to admin or whatever. They're very now I've been dealing with cancer for 8 years. It's very easy for me to spot this kind of stuff. They use kind of quite emotive language. They'll talk about like cancer vanishing or melting away. The stuff will often be very vague. It will often be third hand, so not even second hand, but third hand. Like, my brother-in-law's friend had 20 liver tumours and took, dog dewormer that he bought online, and the cancer tumours melted away, and the doctors said they'd never seen anything like it before. Kind of when you know the red flags, it's obvious to spot this kind of thing. Sometimes there's like a political element or kind of conspiracy theory element there. One thing I've noticed, over the few years, I have sometimes had cancer patients, kind of people who I know are genuine cancer patients, kind of contact me about this stuff and keep asking me if I've tried it or whatever. And I find that they haven't tried it, but they're trying to get the courage or something to try it. It's really weird. A bunch of people over the years have been like that. Yeah. So no, Kevin, I stay away from, toxic people. Scammers, pyramid scheme people trying to sell you something. When you know the red flags, it's very kind of obvious, very easy to spot. Dana asks, I would like to hear any wisdom you have, being where you are, and your thoughts on the cancer journey, the new norm, and what you are feeling these days. Big question. I wish that I would get some amazing wisdom from this. I don't have any, really. What I can say is most people waste most of their time. That's acutely obvious to me as someone close to the end of life. What else can I say? Thoughts on the cancer journey. There's so much hype around treatments and progress. I was diagnosed 2016. If you look at the stats for the main cancer killers, lung cancer, breast cancer, colon cancer, there's been so much progress in those cancers, and yet the overall survival has hardly changed at all. So what's happened is like tiny subgroups of people may be getting some benefit, but overall, because of the way cancer is approached in the medical system, there's kind of no real progress, which is tragic. The new norm, it is really weird. You just get used to this. So, when I heard that, a few weeks ago, when I heard that potentially I'd have a few weeks left, if I get into trouble, that was scary, and it kind of coupled with starting that new treatment that was really debilitating, and I was physically stuck in bed for days, didn't get out of the house for a long time, couldn't really take care of myself much. That was a real kind of shock to the system, but then quite quickly that became the normal thing, and my attention and focus is just like, can I eat one more thing today? Yesterday I spoke to a friend online around 10 o'clock at night. I hadn't had much to eat because I'd been exhausted. I'd been to hospital, had some appointments, got back on 5 in the evening, collapsed in bed, slept for like 3.5 hours or whatever. So I just hadn't had much time to eat. So I'm talking to my friend, and I'm sat there eating or sucking on a pouch of energy jelly to get another 180 calories in. So at the moment, the fixation is that kind of thing. But yeah, no real wisdom, except most people waste most of their time. And just, so maybe one bit of wisdom, and this is so obvious, but it's just everything is, if we want to solve any kind of problem, it's all about working together. All of education, all of kind of schooling, all of testing, that's all about you as an individual, and that's so counterproductive. Everything is about, can you work together with other people to fix some of the problems that we're facing as humans? You've got all these cancer researchers around the world not working together. They're all pulling in different directions. If they just could swallow their pride and just work on one thing together for like a month, there'd be breakthroughs. So many different drugs being investigated, so many different treatments, and it's nonsense. Everything is about working together and sharing stuff. So thank you for that question, Dana. I'm sorry my answer's a bit messy. Wade says, how do you handle the language barrier considering the gravity of the situation? There's been no language barrier at all in the 8 years, really. Basically, I only see the top doctors generally, and they speak good English. Times when I see doctors who don't speak good English, they're not the right doctors for me, and I find that very quickly. So a couple of days ago, I went to see a radiotherapist at the hospital, and he only spoke Japanese, which was fine. I had a dear friend with me who was translating, but he spoke super quickly, kind of shouted, didn't say anything useful, didn't listen to us. I mean, my dear friend who's translating, she's a doctor, super smart, explained my situation clearly, but this guy was just a waste of time. So yeah, the only kind of time there is maybe a language barrier is that it's very difficult to switch languages in conversation. So I'll have situations where I've got a translator with me, either a friend that's helping out or a medical interpreter, and I'll have like a doctor who does speak English, but then the interpreter or my friend is speaking to them in Japanese, and they go basically into Japanese mode, and then stuff gets lost in translation or whatever, where it'd been better if we had just stuck to English. But yeah, no language issues. I mean, in the hospitals, the nurses don't tend to speak much English, but they're world leaders in communication, so there's no trouble there. I can't speak Japanese, but very, very basic little scraps of Japanese, but my medical Japanese is quite good from being in hospital so much, and my listening is okay as well, just from being in Japan for a long time. So I can understand when things have got lost in translation, for example. My dear friend Nick says, what would you say to yourself in 1999 if you could give yourself advice to your younger Matthew? Excellent question. Very, very easy answer. Work harder on yourself. I didn't know anything about self-improvement or whatever. So yeah, that's the big thing is if I could go back in time, I'd say forget about school, work hard on yourself, do stuff to get better at getting better. Don't just exercise, but learn how to exercise better. And particularly, how can you be more helpful and valuable to other people? Because that's the meaning of life, right? Is kind of being helpful and valuable to other people. So investing in yourself, taking care of yourself, for the benefit of others, that would be my advice. Is just work harder on yourself. Get the skills, get the knowledge, get smart at getting smart. Yeah. So excellent question. Very easy answer. Michelle in Australia says, I'd love to know the little things friends and family can do to make your days brighter. It must be a lonely path, and without experiencing it, I feel completely clueless about how to support you and anyone in such a situation. Well, I should say Michelle has been super supportive and often sends me kind messages, and so she's very supportive. But generally, so like if you're caring for a cancer patient at home, checking on them regularly is the big thing. I found it really difficult to get my kids to understand that, when I'm stuck in bed, they have to come and check on me every hour or even every 30 minutes because, especially when I haven't got any voice, I can't call for help or whatever. If I just need help with stuff or need to be reminded to eat, if you're taking care of a cancer patient who's struggling to eat, anything you can do to help them eat, talking to them about what you can do to help them eat. So things like, there's no good saying you're going to go and get them some food, not asking what they think they can manage, and coming back with piles of unsuitable stuff. One of the really hard things about caring for cancer patients is that their situation is changing day by day, hour by hour. Something they could eat yesterday, they couldn't manage today. Maybe they were up and about, full of energy yesterday and completely exhausted today. Maybe they're on a medicine break and the side effects are continuing. Some of these drugs, the side effects continue months after you stop them. Not days, months. Sometimes the side effects suddenly come back. So trying to be as understanding as possible, not being nasty and saying oh, well, you managed this yesterday, why couldn't you do it? Why can't you manage it today? So yeah, that kind of thing. Checking in on people, having normal conversation as well with them, not just cancer stuff, just what you've been doing, that kind of thing. But I guess just asking how you can help and then following through on it and following up with them. How can you make them comfortable? If they're on chemo and it's kind of a cold weather, they might need a lot of help with kind of keeping warm, particularly their fingertips and toes. They might need a lot of encouragement. I mean, just so with the fatigue, resting often doesn't help. And they know that as a cancer patient, but they need encouragement to like get up, get out of bed. How can you help that? Can you, if you're caring for someone in their house, can you, go around in the morning, make sure they're up, make sure they've had a cup of tea, something to eat if they can manage it, that kind of thing. But yeah, great question. And Judy asks, I'd like to know what words and actions do you find comforting from others, and also what is annoying or difficult for you by people's words or actions. So Judy, stuff that I find very comforting is just to know people are thinking about me, especially like if they're messaging me or whatever. It's lovely people, write comments on my posts or whatever, but having, people just message me about like, ask how I'm doing, explain how they're doing, that really helps. If people offer to send me stuff, that can be really helpful. Keith or Kif, I don't know how to pronounce his name, I guess Keith, famous expat guy who runs Punk Dolly. He sent, when I was stuck in hospital, he sent food for my kids. But actually when I got out of hospital, I ended up eating the food, and it made a massive difference. It shortened my recovery time by weeks because it was food that was very nutritionally dense, very kind of delicious, like very appetizing, palatable food. And I mean, I could only manage like nibbling on it, but still, so that made a huge difference. So yeah, anything like that, when people can send me stuff, offer to send me stuff for my kids. I've got a dear friend in England who sends me like British candy, British sweets and stuff, and mainly for my kids, although I eat a lot of it. And yeah, she's just incredible. Like, yeah, so yeah, that kind of thing is really helpful. Stuff that I find annoying or difficult. I mean, I guess I find stuff more difficult than annoying. I don't get annoyed by what people say because they're doing or saying what they can. Difficult stuff. I mean, a classic difficult thing is when people find out you've got cancer. So many people start telling you about all the people they know who've died of cancer. And it's like, how do you respond to that? Someone hears you've got breast cancer and they say, oh, my neighbour had breast cancer. You say, how's she doing? Oh, she died last year. How do you respond to that? People give strange recommendations, like, of course, strange treatments, and it's hard to kind of explain. Like, there's so much stuff where if you know a bit about cancer and cancer treatments, when you hear what people are recommending, when it's obviously there's nothing there, it's obviously nonsense or whatever, but that can be hard to explain to people who don't have that base knowledge. There are all these kind of red flags, like, vague stuff and people trying to sell you products or whatever. So that's a big issue, because it's hard to respond to that without upsetting people. Another thing is, again, like, you'll get a lot of people will send you news stories about cancer breakthroughs, but when you read it, it's a potential breakthrough in basic research, and that means potentially could be treating people in 10 years' time. So there's a lot of hype about, AI and mRNA vaccines and all this stuff. It's just hype. And again, if you know what to look for, it's just obvious. Oh, this is something that 10 years in the future may have some benefit to someone, but not now. Yeah, I mean, like when people find I can't eat, people say things like, "Oh, you should force yourself to eat, this or that or whatever." And it's like, when you're struggling to eat and you try and force yourself, you tend to vomit, and that's really bad. You have to avoid vomiting, because of dental damage, and because of course you lose the nutrition of what was still already in your stomach, hasn't reached your intestines yet. And but yeah, words and actions that people find comforting, and the big action always comes down to, do people share the link? I'll post on Facebook that I need funds for end of life care, and I get like 100 comments, which is lovely, but like 4 people will share the link. And if people can share the link and maybe write a sentence that this person needs money for hospice or palliative radiotherapy or nutritional jellies that they can eat because they can't eat normal food. That makes such a difference. So I'm going to finish there. Thank you so much for the questions, everyone. Roger, Kevin, Dana, Wade, Nick, Michelle, and Judy. Really, really, I appreciate it so much. Thank you for still caring. I won't be doing more videos, basically, because I lose my voice. If I do stop this treatment again or whatever and my voice comes back, I'll do another video. But thank you so much.